Hi, Neil.
Good evening, everyone. How are you today?
Doing all right.
Glad to hear that.
How about you?
Can't complain. Cannot complain.
We had our board meeting today, and the commissioners adopted the new regulations for the construction program.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Yay. I don't even know what they are, but I'm sure they're awesome.
Well, you'll be happy to know that we have added a small population public library grant program. It's 2,500 rather, or 2,499 and below.
Yeah.
2,000. This pilot project has been incredibly helpful, even to date.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Good. I have sometime we'll talk about it all. And there's a lot of things.
There are a lot of things.
There are a lot of things. But we on Giving Tuesday, which was the day before yesterday, I guess, we raised $31,350.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What's your
I'm blown
cut?
away.
What's your cut, Marianne?
I don't know. No, I gave some of that money. So,
I see.
yeah. So,
I see.
yes. No. What I get is a new library, and we're going to be ready. We're going to be ready if the costs go up. We're going to be ready to pay the town's share. And if the costs don't go up, then we're going to borrow less money. So either way, we build a beautiful library, and we're going to be ready. So, yeah.
I think you have a good pool of architects to choose from.
I think we do too. I do. Yeah. So, I'm really curious, what other people are going to think, because I know some of these architects.
I know most of them.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, okay, you do. But like my committee doesn't. So Dale Houle does. He knows some of them. And I mean, so Dale Houle and I know Matt and Conrad, and then I don't know Johnson Roberts, but I know their libraries, and then, and I know Dave King, but I think I'm the only one who knows Dave King. And then it could be that Jeff Quackenbush knows people, because he's an architect, and so I'm really curious.
I don't know Over Under or TSK, whatever that other one was. But the rest of them I know.
Yeah.
That matches my experience level.
I think I mentioned this to Marianne, that my evaluation is limited to very objective criteria. I am not expressing any opinions about anyone, but I tallied up how many projects each firm had done with MPLCP funding, so we know they're familiar with our program. I tallied up libraries in Massachusetts not done with our funding, and I tallied public libraries outside of Massachusetts. Then I looked at who's licensed. And I also did some tallying for the women-owned and minority-owned business enterprises, because that's a state metric that they look at, but it doesn't figure into this selection process. It's something you'll have to set goals for women-owned and minority-owned businesses, workforce participation later on in the project.
State has a new method of doing that.
And I was
fairly new.
fascinated by the number of architects who have allowed their license to expire, and it's past the grace period. Oh, by the way, they had a COVID grace period, but
You mean out of this pool?
I can't hear you,
You
Marianne.
can't hear me? Out of this pool, there are people whose
Can you
licenses.
oh, what's going on?
Lauren, can you hear me?
Okay, so it's not just me.
Marianne, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you
all
hear
right.
me?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I don't know
Okay.
how much of what I said you heard, so.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
Now I
okay.
know.
Here's everybody coming. Hi, Stephen.
Marianne,
So what happened to the car?
we were on the Garden State Parkway. So Linda got a cold and we decided not to continue our trip and come home yesterday. And we were lower end of the Garden State Parkway. And there had been some kind of incident where one car was stopped against the Jersey barrier on the left side. Car stopped behind that. I stopped behind that car, and a pickup truck did not stop behind me. And drove me into the car in front. So fortunately, we're okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'm
Car's a little bit
sorry.
of a mess.
Yes. Okay. Bummer.
Bummer. Yep.
But not being injured is the key.
Yes, that's the most important thing.
Right.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Were you able to drive home or did you have to get the car
Oh,
towed?
no, the car's, the impact from the pickup truck broke out the rear glass. And then I think it may have also damaged the, I call it unibody, and the driver's side door cannot be closed. So it was towed to a lot. Enterprise picked us up. We got a car, stayed overnight in a hotel, finished the drive this morning.
That's so traumatic.
Mm,
Yeah, not fun.
mm. Mm-mm.
But I have to say, we have, our car has, it's like emergency braking.
Mhm.
And, you know, when you're on the road and you see somebody's brake lights, I mean, I followed a pretty far distance. So I let off the gas. I see it's, you know, it looks like it's not moving very fast. So I hit the brakes, but then the automatic braking system picked up that we were closing quickly, and it then assisted.
Mhm.
And we stopped. I mean, we were fine.
So you didn't run into the car in front of you?
Not until the pickup truck drove
Oh,
me
yeah.
into it.
Yeah.
He got pushed.
I
Mhm.
got pushed. So I didn't get to do my extra review this afternoon,
Mm. Mm.
but I did get everybody reviewed.
Hey, Penny. Elaine had originally offered to take minutes, but Elaine had surgery this week and I see that you're here. Are you willing to take minutes?
I'm sorry, I was attending to my dog. Were you talking to me, Marianne?
Yes, I was just asking if you would take minutes since
I
you're here.
will. I've been making wreaths since 10 this morning, but I will take minutes.
Okay, thank you, Penny. You do such a good job taking minutes.
Oh, thank you.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry that I'm not able to
I'm
do
gonna
it.
quickly, no, that's fine, Elaine. I need to quickly feed my dog, but I'll get to task in 2
Okay.
minutes.
All right,
Don't say
I
anything
see,
important.
okay, it's only 5:59, so we should wait until 6 o'clock anyway, before we do anything. Everybody's here. All of the people from the grant review subcommittee are here. But we'll wait till Penny is back. Hi, Roger.
Hello, good evening.
And then I think we'll do the same thing. So I have a ranking form with the 11 criteria. Neil, were you gonna do that? Or did I spend all kinds of time making a ranking form? And you also made a ranking form?
We have one that we've used, but you seem to have control over it, so I didn't
Okay,
send what I had done.
okay, alrighty. Okay. So, all right. So I made a ranking form, which I just, I edited a ranking form. And I have one question. So I have the 11 comparative criteria. And then for OPM, we had, I'm going to go ahead and share it. Let me see. Is this the one? Yes. Okay. So for OPM, we had 5 or 6 different minimum requirements. And for this, it seemed like most of the minimum requirements were in the comparative criteria. Like I went through the, even these seem like they're, these 2 minimum requirements have 2 to 3 municipal building projects or 3 references for projects similar. Well, I think we can just answer those. And
those should be relatively binary, Mary Ann. They should be either yes or no.
right.
And if
So I
and
think
if there's
yes.
any no, then it should nix them from further consideration.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
whether or not you want to go through the exercise, I'll leave it to the committee's discretion, but if they
Okay.
don't meet the minimum requirements, I'm not sure that they should be going into the comparative bin, but
Right. So then we will go through those 2 minimum requirements for each firm before we go on to the comparative criteria.
yeah.
Okay. Penny, are you back?
I am typing away.
Okay, good. All right. Does anybody have anything else that they wanted to bring up before? Should we just dive right in and start ranking candidates?
I found that 2 of the firms I questioned whether we should even consider them. So I'm wondering if we should do them first and decide whether just to knock them out. And then get to the other 4 firms that
Okay.
I think are more qualified.
We could, so I mean, okay, so why don't we do that? Which ones? I bet I can guess.
Okay, go ahead and guess.
All right, so I'm gonna guess over under.
Bingo.
Yep.
Okay, so let me go down to them. I already have everybody written in alphabetical order. So I have to find them. So does over under have 2 to 3 municipal building projects in the last 5 years?
No,
Questionable.
no.
Okay. All
They
right.
have schools, they don't have libraries.
Correct.
Yeah, and no MBLC experience.
None, yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. And then do they have references for projects similar to this project? No.
No.
Okay. All righty. Okay. So,
They have done West. I'm a little bit confused about the structure of the company. Over under, And then there's I don't know if they merged or if they're with a company called West Work.
Right.
But in their qualifications package, they list an Adams Street branch library in Dorchester,
Right.
Mhm.
which is under West Work,
Right.
as
Right.
well as a study for the Memorial Library in Ashburnham, and also a feasibility and design for Haverhill Public Library.
Right.
Doesn't.
And those, Lauren, those are not MBLC projects?
No, neither of them are. I agree. I was confused about the relationship between, it's two separate firms seemingly in partnership. I was not clear on how that, I mean, obviously a lot of projects are done in partnership between a design firm and a local firm. That's a fairly common thing, but that doesn't seem to be what's happening here. I don't really know what the relationship is.
I can say, I think on that one, they referenced another consultant, NADAAA or something like that.
Yeah.
That's yet another architecture firm.
Yeah, and a little background to that, because I'm from Ashburnham, that it was a study on interior arrangement, specific to that building as far as where the entrances were and how they faced other spaces outside. So it was more of an internal physical reorganization. But they were happy with the work they did, but it's limited to sort of internal circulation.
Right.
So, and it does appear to me that they are different firms, because Westwork in their, if I'm looking at this correctly, Westwork is listed as a WBE firm in their DSB form, and Over Under is not. So they are some sort of two companies married for this, which makes me nervous, but.
So it
I
might be.
think
what we want.
if we chose to interview them, we would have to clarify that in some detail.
My view is they don't even meet the minimums.
Yeah.
So in a sense, I think we box them.
Brad, did you want to add something?
This is very similar to what Jeff just said. We've been talking about the details of them, but it seems like in the big picture, the discussion is, should we just eliminate them right now? And I agree with Jeff. I think we should, rather than spending more time. I don't think they meet minimum requirements.
Do we have a consensus on that?
I agree.
I
I
agree.
agree.
Okay. All right, so I'm not gonna guess at the next one.
Oh, gotcha.
I'll guess.
Okay. Okay, because I'm afraid it's gonna be, all right, go ahead. You go ahead, Stephen.
David King.
Exactly. That's the other one. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, I would have guessed right. Okay, we can go up there. He's at the beginning of the alphabet. He's number 2. Okay. Where is it? Okay, so he doesn't have 2 to 3 in the last 5 years. He doesn't have 3 projects similar to this. Anybody else want to say anything else?
This is a minor point, but the forms, that they had to submit, he didn't sign any of his.
I know. If everybody liked him, we would have figured
Right.
something about that.
Have them sign it later. Yeah.
Well, for the notes, which firm are we discussing now?
David King Architects.
Oh, okay, got it. Thanks.
But
So
what's
do we have-
surprising, it's David L. King, is they tout as the design experience, but then the rest of the work is supposed to be done by HKT. This was another one of these. I
Right.
was very confused as to who's who, what's what, and who's doing what.
Exactly.
And I didn't feel that we could figure out if we were to hire these guys, who's responsible to do what phase of this thing. So,
Well, I think, again, I'm looking at them now. David King lists Sandwich Public Library, Cuddy Hunk Public Library, and Groton, is it? Yeah, Grafton, excuse
Grafton.
me. As well as Worcester.
They did a design for
King,
Grafton, but it was not built. That's not the Grafton Library that was eventually built.
Okay,
Just did repairs to the
That
roof.
that project is very old. It's 12 years old.
the way I read it, David King only has one library project. The other library projects you just mentioned he was with another firm, with other firms. Is that,
I
You
think,
confirm?
I think he did Cuddy Hunk.
I
yeah.
think the sandwich project was HKT. I'm not sure what David's involvement was. Sandwich was an interior reconfiguration only. The Cuddy Hunk Library, I have not seen it in person. I saw the old one, and the old one had no running water and no telephone and no computers. And to me, the photos don't look like any of those things have been added,
Ah,
but I could be wrong.
and also, I don't think HKT has a lot of experience with libraries, with new libraries similar to ours.
I guess the
Oh.
reason for my speaking up is we're evaluating the minimum requirements, which is, have they done 2 to 3 municipal building projects in the last 5 years?
No. If you're saying if you're saying David L. King Architects,
I know, well, and see, this is why he's married to
Yeah.
HKT.
Yeah.
So that, so you know what, we'll just rank him, okay? We'll just go through the comparative criteria since we don't seem to have consensus on that. So now can we just, is that okay? If we just go through the comparative criteria, but can we just start at the beginning of the alphabet and start with Johnson Roberts? Who, is that okay, Jeff?
yeah, I just turned to my notes. Go ahead.
So I have to make sure I have my notes too. So, okay, so I just listed them in alphabetical order and made a ranking sheet for them. And so Johnson Roberts is first. And so they certainly have 2 to 3 municipal projects in the last 5 years.
Mhm.
And they have references for projects similar to this. Does everyone agree with that?
yes.
Yes.
All right. So now we'll do the ranking where we give ranks of 1 to 3, with 3 being let's see,
Most.
highly advantageous, 2 is advantageous, 1 is not advantageous, and then 0 is unacceptable.
Mhm.
And we'll just do it just like we did when we were doing this for the OPM a couple of months ago. So, and we'll start with Brad, because you're first on the list. So Brad, for Johnson Roberts, for criteria 1, quality and content of the application, what was your score?
Before I answer that, I have to do a preamble, which is that for some of this, I feel out of what? I don't feel I have enough knowledge to pass judgment. So some of mine are no answers. This is true across the board. I did the best I could with the knowledge I have. Anyway, Johnson Roberts Architects won the quality. I said 1.
All right, so I'm gonna put mine in. I said 2. Jeff,
2,
Dale,
1.
Stephen?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I gave him 3, although in parentheses I have except timeline. I didn't see a clear timeline, but otherwise I thought it was pretty strong.
So 3. Okay. Okay. So, and then number 2 was relevant experience and professional qualifications of the architect and the key personnel. So Brad, what was your score?
For this question, for everybody, I don't have an answer.
You don't have an answer, so we're leaving it empty?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I put a 3. Okay. Jeff,
3,
Dale,
2.
and Stephen.
3.
Okay.
Can I say something about that number 2, please? This is one of the ones where Stu Roberts' architecture license expired in 2020. There was a COVID grace period until September of 2021, but he still has not renewed his license. In the proposal, they did mention an architect named Jeff Davis in their firm. So technically, legally, their firm can do architectural work legally. But Stu's license is expired. Phil doesn't have one. So just for whatever that's worth.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay. And then I'm gonna just write the timeline. Because,
But timeline's covered up further down our list.
right, okay, all right, then I'm still gonna put it because Stephen mentioned it, okay? Right, number 3, experience with completed public construction projects of similar size and complexity of our project. And it says here, consultants without public design and construction experience in Massachusetts will not be considered. Okay, so Brad.
2.
Okay, and then I'm next. And we're on Johnson Roberts and it's number 3. Okay, I gave him a 3. Okay.
3.
3, okay. And then
3.
Dale, 3?
Yep.
Okay. And then Stephen?
3.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so now the next one, the applicants, and if anybody wants to say something, just jump in because I can't really see you all because I have this up on my screen. So, the applicant's ability to provide the opportunity for fast track design options. Brad?
If I understand that right, I felt like only one of the proposals talked about fast track, and it wasn't this one, and so I gave them 0.
Okay. Notes I made for myself, I gave them a 3. Jeff?
2. I had a hard time with this question with all of them, by the way.
Yeah, it's
Because most people didn't address fast track, and the only way I could analyze it, other than that one firm, was whether they said the firm had a lot of work or not, and were ready to move on. So,
look at their timeline.
yeah, exactly.
Right. So Dale?
Two.
Not even know what fast track design means anyways.
It is. Okay, Stephen?
2, and I put down, there was no timeline.
Right.
Although a lot of times, and I think they did in here, I'd have to, review it. But a lot of times they would say something to the effect of, the large percentage of our projects are on time and on budget.
Mhm.
So being on time, not that it's addressing fast track, and they, addressed how they were going to go through the process, but most of the others allowed this many weeks or months, and then a lot of them
Right.
had the chart that kind of
Right.
showed the whole movement, and they
Right.
didn't have that.
Right. Yep. Yep. Correct.
So now we're on number 5. Prior experience working with staff and community involvement groups during the design and construction phases. So Brad?
2.
2. I gave them a 3. Jeff?
3.
Dale?
3.
And Stephen?
3.
Alrighty. Number 6, understanding of the project goals and proposed design solutions, including high efficiency construction phases. Whatever that means. Brad?
I went through this and I kept stumbling on high efficiency construction. I assume that's talking not about energy efficiency, but the construction method. But I couldn't figure out what that meant, and so I ignored that part. And I gave them a 2.
Let's see what I gave them. I gave them a 3. Okay,
3.
3. And Dale
1.
and Stephen.
3.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Up.
Yeah, I didn't like the fact that there wasn't a timeline commitment or a personnel commitment nor a timeline from Johnson.
Alrighty. So the building committee's assessment of the designer's availability to provide subsequent final design and construction service. Brad?
I couldn't figure out how to answer this for anybody. I left it blank.
Okay. I put something in, let me find it. I put, why did I? Let's see. That was number 1. Number 2. Oh, all right. What number are we on? Number 7.
7.
I put a 3. Okay.
2.
Okay. Dale
2.
and Stephen,
3.
3. Okay. All righty. Number 8, applicants' immediate availability to begin the project after the notice to proceed is executed.
I said
Brad?
0 because there's no timeline. I had no indication that they were available.
All right, I put a 3 because this is a big experienced firm that builds a lot of libraries, and I figured they wouldn't have submitted this proposal if they weren't ready to go. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, even though their application was incomplete. So Jeff?
I gave them a 3 by, the way I got to that by looking at the DCAM form
Yes.
and looking at how many projects they've got in the office, how many people they have, projects they listed, and what phase of work they're in. So I think they've got the staff available.
Okay, so I wasn't so generous and I gave him a 2.
So I also did a 3, and where I looked was on the standard DSB form for
Yeah, I saw
each of the 3 individuals that are at the top of the chain. You know, for instance, Mr. Roberts is available to immediately commence work on this project. Mr. O'Brien is available for new projects, and Ms. Aringros is available for work on this project. And they only have current assignments for 2 buildings. All of them just said, and the same 2. So they've been a team.
9. Let's see, the proposal shall include the designer's suggested procedures and timetable to carry out the work as described in the scope of services. Okay, and then their ability to complete the work in the allotted time frame. So Brad,
0, no time frame.
I gave them a 2. I did see that the timeline was missing, but they did describe sort of I don't think they called it a work plan, but they did describe a procedure. Okay, Jeff,
2,
Dale,
1,
and Stephen.
2, same reason as you, Mary Ann. No definite timeline, but they describe the procedure.
All right, number 10, financial stability. You know, so of course we didn't request any credit references, but we're charged with doing our best that we can to assess their financial stability based on these proposals. So Brad,
I left this part blank.
okay. I gave them a 3. Jeff?
Can you explain the 3?
I gave them a 3 because they're a big company that does a lot of jobs with a good reputation. And so my guess is that they're financially solvent.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. I gave him a 2 because I couldn't prove any of that stuff.
right, okay,
I gave him a
Dale?
2. 2.
okay. Stephen?
I didn't rank them because we don't have any information, although I agree with what everyone has said. And it also says, you know, may be requested. So I was assuming that, assuming they got interviewed, we would then be asking for that kind of information.
And now number 11, demonstrative ability to provide energy efficient designs and history with pursuing grant opportunities. So Brad?
2.
2. And let me look at what I gave them. I gave them a 2. Jeff
3,
and Dale?
2.
2. And Stephen?
I gave them a 3, but I felt that none of the applicants really were clear about pursuing grant opportunities. Now, you know, assuming that one of these firms that have worked with the Massachusetts Board of Libraries before, I assume there are grants, but I don't know who's, you know, applied for the grant. So it's, you know, a little unclear as to, in my opinion, all of them, but I feel like they definitely prove their energy efficient design capabilities.
Okay, and I want to point out that my magic Excel spreadsheet here did all the math, and we know that Johnson Roberts got 116 points, which is right here. So, and now I just want to make that bold. So anyway, we don't have to wait for anybody to do the math now, which is good. So now we'll go on to the next.
so are we supposed to answer number 12 or not?
Well, we're gonna, so we, I put that in for when we got to the interview point. We could go back and see if anybody wanted to change any of these rankings and then
Okay.
rank their interview. So that's
Okay.
what that's in there for. And we'll, I thought we would, well, we could say right now whether or not we think we're going to interview this firm, or we could wait until we ranked the other 4, and then see which 4 of the 5 got the most points.
I would just prefer to discuss it now and then be done with them.
Okay, so you want to discuss whether or not you want to interview them now?
Yeah. it's
Okay,
just-
alrighty. Okay,
it's
I
just
think
an
we should
opinion.
interview them.
We're going back to the same order of discussion.
Okay, all right, so you want to do that? You want me to ask each person? Okay, so
Yeah.
Brad, should we interview them?
Sure. Yes.
Okay, all right, now I'll say yes. Jeff?
Yes.
Okay. Dale?
Yes.
Okay, and Stephen?
Yes, I felt that they had a extremely detailed presentation. They showed a specific understanding of Shutesbury. They even have an initial schematic. It does have estimates and award amounts. There was no timeline. They also talked about a 3D presentations during the project, which I thought for us and for the community, that would be very useful.
All right, Lauren, can I ask you a question? And maybe Neil? So Lauren, you pointed out that Stu doesn't have a license. So is that, so he did have a license. Is that, can we say to him, like, what would he have to do to get a license? Can we hire him if he doesn't have a license?
Well, and maybe Neil knows more about this than I do, because most of my experience with this is outside of Massachusetts. Technically, the firm can do business because Jeff Davis, who
Okay.
is a principal in the firm, has a license that's current. Jeff Davis is not listed as one of the team members on this project. So it depends on how persnickety you want to be about it.
Okay, all
We're
right.
not hiring- We're not hiring him, we're hiring the firm.
Right.
That's
Not
how,
hiring
Jeff,
him.
that's,
Yeah,
my,
but how many allowances do you want to make? I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
I'll just offer, we've done two library projects and multiple other projects with Johnson Roberts through our 25 years plus or so in the business. No hesitation or reservation of doing another library project with them at all.
Mhm.
And
And-
I
and
will
as-
say that in the last 10 years, they have done 28 MPLCP projects. Sorry, in the history of the program, they've done 28. In the last 10 years, they've done 9. So they have a long history with our program, and they're very well versed in it.
So I'm very comfortable with these guys.
Me too.
All right, so we decided that we were gonna just go ahead and go through the exercise for David King.
I gotta go right back to get my notes.
Okay, all righty, so Brad, do you have a rank for quality of and content of the application for David King?
I gave them a 2.
I gave them a 1. All right, Jeff,
I gave him a 2. How
Dale?
about 1.5?
Yeah,
Yeah, all right, I'm putting 1.5 and I'm gonna put 1.5 no, I'm leaving mine where it is. Okay, I hate saying negative
now you
things.
didn't say that was an option at the beginning,
Right.
but anyhow, I'm a 2.
You're a 2, okay. And
2.
Stephen?
2.
All right, good, all right. Let's see, relevant experience and professional qualifications. So Brad,
That's blanked. No answer.
okay, I gave him a 2. Okay, Jeff?
1.
Dale,
2.
okay, Stephen?
0.
All righty. Experience with completed public construction projects of similar size and complexity of our project. Okay, Brad?
1.
This is number gave him a 1. Okay, Jeff,
1,
Dale,
2.
and Stephen.
0.
All right.
Marianne,
Um,
may I, this is Penny, may I ask a question before you go on?
Yeah.
What did you decide about whether they met minimum requirements? Did you say they didn't?
we didn't have a consensus, so we decided we would just rank him.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so number 4, let's see, this is that question about the ability to provide the opportunity for fast track design options. So Brad, you have one?
By my reading, I was reading different things than a number of you, and I said 0 because they didn't specifically mention it.
And this is number 4. I put a 2. Okay. And I put a 2 just because because I know that they, they aren't doing a lot of other projects. Dave King isn't doing a lot of other projects with a focus on this one. Jeff,
and I gave him a 2 for a similar reason. It appears King doesn't have any current projects, while HKT has a few, but they never really discuss fast track at all.
I'm a 2.
and
1.
1, okay. Prior experience working with staff and community involvement groups during design and construction phases.
2.
Brad, 2, okay, and let me see what I did. It's number 5. Number 5, I gave him a 2. Jeff,
1,
1, okay. Dale,
I gave him a 2. I think the big thing that hinders King is they have no MBLC experience. So, I mean, I like their designs, but it's an issue.
1.
1, okay. And okay, understanding of the project goals, and proposed design solutions and high efficiency construction phases. Okay, 2. Okay, and that is number 6. I gave him a 3. Jeff?
1,
1. Okay. And Dale?
3.
3. Okay. And Stephen? 2. Okay. All righty. And the building committee's assessment of the designer's availability to provide subsequent final design and construction service. Brad?
Put blank.
A blank, okay. And let's see, that is number 7. I put a 1. At one point in his proposal, he put, we'll always be available, by email or, I was like, oh, I don't feel like they're going to be available. So anyway, that's why he got, that's why he got a 1 there. Jeff,
I gave him a 1,
Dale,
2.
okay, and Stephen.
1.
1, okay. All righty. Okay, number 8, applicants' immediate availability to begin after the notice to proceed is executed.
2.
Jeff,
well, it appears he doesn't have much work, so I gave him a 2 because it looks like he can start now.
Dale,
I gave him a 2 as well.
and Stephen.
3.
Okay.
Mary Ann,
Yeah,
your voice comes
Yeah.
in strong and then fades, comes in strong and fades.
okay,
You're
All
going in
right.
and, yeah.
all right. I'll do the best I can. So I'll talk loud. Okay. Number 9, let's see, the designer's proposal shall include suggested procedures and timetable to carry out the work described in the scope of services. So Brad?
2.
2. And let's see what mine is. I gave him a 2. Jeff,
2,
Dale,
2,
and Stephen.
Gave him a 3.
Okay. And let's see, financial stability. Brad,
I didn't answer.
okay. Let's see, I put an answer. What did I put? Number 10. I put 3, because I think he doesn't have any overhead. Okay. So, you know.
well, how do you know that?
Well, I mean, I think he doesn't, I think that they don't, I think they're a do-it-yourself kind of operation that, you know, like they don't have to pay 6 interns to work on this project. He would just be doing it himself.
does David answer
and-
the phone?
Yes, or respond by email. So anyway.
Okay, so you
this
don't
next-
believe they're sitting on the top floor of a big apartment, a big building in downtown Boston? Okay.
No, I think he's sitting in
Okay.
his condo in Brookline. So or maybe his house. Okay.
Which
All right.
bedroom?
Okay.
2,
2. Okay. And Dale,
2.
2. And Stephen.
I didn't rank.
Okay. Let's see. Then we've got number 11, ability to provide energy efficient designs. And I think the history with pursuing grant opportunities, I think that might just be part of the RFQ for when, most of the time when people are hiring architects, or a lot of the time for the Massachusetts Public Library Construction Program, they're hiring them for a feasibility study. And so they're hiring them so that they can then apply for a Massachusetts Public Library Construction Program grant. We already have one. So that's what I think that's where that came from. So Brad, did you rank him for demonstrating
1.
1? Okay. And then I gave him a 2. Jeff,
1,
1. And Dale
2.
and Stephen,
1.
1. Okay. All righty. So now we can do the interview. So he got 86.5 points. Let me click save. Brad, do you want to interview Dave King?
That's harder for me to answer. I wanted to rank him for an interview after seeing how the others came out.
Do you want me to put you down as a maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
question mark.
Okay. I'm going to put myself as a maybe. How about you, Jeff?
No,
Okay. Dale
Yes.
and Stephen.
No.
Okay. All right. On to the next one. All right. The next one is LLB. And so LLB, I want to get the proposal now because, but anyway, so LLB, does LLB have 2 to 3 municipal building projects in the last 5 years? So, I think they do. Let's see. Yeah, they did the renovation of the Worcester Public Library.
Yeah.
Just recently.
I think they're doing Marlboro.
They're doing Marlboro right now.
Marlboro. When was Franklin? Was that so okay, so they've got, and they did Bolton, but that wasn't in the last 5 years. Marlboro. So that's a yes. And then do they have 3 references for projects similar to this project? And so I think that's a yes. I mean, they have a whole page of let's see, 12 MBLC projects. And some of them are older, but
They're
they
all
do
old.
have.
I
They
mean,
had 12? Because
Um,
I only counted 8 in the whole history of the program.
So some of them are feasibility studies.
Oh, okay,
Um,
all right, okay, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
a lot of them.
Sharon, Shrewsbury, West Springfield, so it's, but then they have some actual, some renovations and additions, so they have a whole page. So do we all agree, are we in consensus that that's a yes?
Yes,
Yes, okay, alrighty, so, all right. All right, so now quality and content of the application, Brad?
2,
Okay. All right, oh. All right, no, mine was on this other page. I gave them a 2, Jeff
2,
and Dale
1,
and Stephen.
2,
Okay. All right, relevant experience and professional qualifications.
no answer.
Is that, you left it blank? I didn't hear you. Okay. I gave them a 2, Jeff.
3,
Okay. Dale
2,
and Stephen.
2,
Okay. Experience with completed public construction projects of similar size and complexity. Okay. Brad?
2,
I didn't hear you.
2,
Thank you. And I gave them a 1. Jeff
2,
and Dale
1,
and Stephen.
2,
All right. Okay. The applicant's ability to provide the opportunity for fast track design options. Brad?
again, I feel I'm reading this differently than the rest of you. I said 0.
And I gave them a 1. And Jeff?
1,
Okay. Dale
1,
and Stephen.
1,
All right. Number 5, prior experience in working with staff and community involvement groups.
2,
Okay. And I gave them a 2. Jeff?
2,
Okay. And Dale
2,
and Stephen.
2,
Okay. Understanding of the project goals and proposed design solutions. Number
2.
6, 2. And I gave them a 2. Jeff
1,
and Dale,
2,
Stephen.
2,
Okay. And let's see. Our assessment of the designer's ability to provide subsequent final design and construction service.
I left
Number
it.
7, you left it blank. I gave them a 2.
2,
Jeff, 2. Okay, Dale
I gave him a 1.
and Stephen,
3,
3. Okay. Applicants' availability to begin as soon as we're ready.
2,
Okay. And I gave them a 2. Jeff,
1, 1,
1. Okay. Dale
Because they did give us a timeline, I gave him a 2.
and Stephen,
3,
3.
3,
All right. Let's see. So suggested procedures and timetable to carry out the work as described in the scope of services. And this is number 9.
I gave them a 1.
Okay. I gave them a 3.
1,
Jeff, 1. Okay. Dale
2,
and Stephen.
3,
Financial stability.
No answer.
Okay, let's see what I put. Financial stability is number 10. I put 3. Jeff,
Two.
2. Okay, Dale
1,
and Stephen.
Did not rank.
All right, you left it blank? Okay,
left it blank.
all righty. Okay, number 11. Energy, this is about energy efficient designs. Brad?
I didn't think they had mentioned it much, so I said 0.
Well, they had a Walpole, whatever the hell that is, project. They talked about the energy efficient stuff there. That's the only way I was able to determine it.
Right, and I think they did. So anyway, I gave them a 3. What did you give them, Jeff?
So, because
2.
there's only one
Right.
project.
Yeah, okay. Dale?
Yeah, I gave him a 2 and I can't read my notes, so I just gave it to him.
1.
1, okay. All righty. Okay, so let me do this, and I think I didn't add in the interview line, so I'm gonna add that in. I'm gonna put it here. All right, so they got 91 points. Brad, are you interested in interviewing them?
Yes.
Okay. I would interview them. Jeff?
I would say yes, but I've got a really big concern. I looked at I call it their decam form, but their state form. And from what I can see, these guys are really busy. And they don't have, I don't know if they have enough staff to handle our project right now.
Okay.
I guess that would be, if we interview them, that'd be one of the first questions.
Dale?
Originally it was a no. So I'm just gonna say no.
Okay, and Stephen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. On to the next one. The next one is Odin's Ello Architects. I think they have 2 to 3 municipal building projects in the last 5 years. Does anyone disagree with that?
No.
Okay, and then I think they have 3 references for projects similar to this project. Are we in consensus about that?
Yes.
Okay, all righty. So we're now going to, let's see, look at the comparative criteria. So number 1 is the quality and content of the application. And Brad, you're up.
3.
Okay, and I gave them a 3. Jeff?
I would say it's 3, although they sure write a lot.
Yeah, you're learning something there.
Okay, so I'm gonna write down that they're verbose, okay? All right, okay.
Yeah, you learn that they want this job.
Okay, Dale?
3.
Okay, and Stephen?
3.
Okay.
I just have to say, or throw in, did everyone notice one of their references?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, the town of Shutesbury?
No,
No?
Lauren,
Okay,
somebody we can call to check up on them.
all right. Okay, relevant experience and professional qualifications. Brad?
Blank. I've left it blank for everybody.
Okay, I gave them a 3. Jeff?
2,
Dale?
2.
Stephen?
3.
All right, experience with completed public construction projects of similar size. Brad?
2.
2. I gave them a 3. Jeff?
2,
Dale?
3.
And Stephen?
3.
And see. You left that one blank, Brad?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 3, oh, wait a minute.
Four.
Okay, yeah, here we go. 4. Okay, the applicant's ability to provide the opportunity for fast track design options.
I keep feeling I've read this one differently, but they were the only one who specifically mentioned something in the timeline, so I said 3.
And I said 3. Jeff,
I said 2 because they say they can start the project immediately, but then they also say, and if you look at their submission, most of their current work is still in the study design phase. And which means they could switch over to a real project immediately. And it isn't our project. So that has me a little concerned.
Dale? That's a question. If we decide we want to interview them, we can ask them that
Yep.
question, right?
Yep.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
Dale?
Yeah, so I agree that they look busy, but I also think reading their text that they really want this job. I gave them a 3.
Stephen?
3,
Prior experience working with staff and community involvement groups. Brad?
How come this feels like I'm in a different place? Oh, here we are. I just moved too far. 2.
I gave them a 3. Jeff?
2.
Dale?
3.
Stephen?
3,
Okay. Applicant's understanding of the project goals and proposed design solutions.
3.
3, okay, I gave them a 3.
3.
Jeff? Okay. Dale
3.
and Stephen?
3,
And our assessment of their availability to provide subsequent final design and construction service.
I left it blank.
Okay, I'm gonna give them a 3. Dale? I mean, Jeff,
Yeah. 2.
2. Dale,
3.
Stephen?
3,
And applicant's immediate availability to begin the project after the notice to proceed is executed.
2.
I'm giving them a 3. I also know that they're busy. But I think that if they take on this job, they're going to be committing to it. Okay, Jeff, if
Can I
you know, if,
comment?
2.
well, I'll wait till you get to me and then I'll.
okay, all right. So Jeff,
2.
2, okay. Dale,
3.
3, and Stephen,
I gave them a 3, and on the, what's this, what's that form called? The SDA forms, when I add up the percentages of current work assignments and availability, Mr. Oden's, he's only at 50% capacity. Mr. Elo is only at 50% capacity. And Mr. Gentner is only at 40% capacity in terms of their current workload, which suggested to me they've got a definite availability.
Or they're out trying to find more work.
Well, that would be certainly something until they get this project.
they did just have a project go from, they just had a project that the town voted to move forward on it. So I don't remember in their proposal if that was listed as, I mean, it was in there. It's the Gloucester project. They're going to be, going into construction for that or design. Okay. So number 9, the proposal shall include the designer's suggested procedures and timetables. Brad?
3.
Okay. And I gave them a 3. And Jeff?
2. Again, because I'm still concerned about that ability to do the work.
Okay. Dale
Agree.
and Stephen.
3,
Okay. And let's see, where are we now? We're getting there.
10.
Financial stability.
No answer.
Okay, I gave them a 3.
Two.
Because they're, you know, their company has grown and they did a really nice presentation, you know, their brochure was really nice, so they seem to have resources. Did you give us a number, Jeff?
2.
2, okay. Dale?
2.
Okay. And Stephen?
3,
Okay. And demonstrates ability to provide energy
oh,
efficient
excuse
design.
me, I'm sorry. I didn't rank that.
Okay. Oh, you left it blank?
I
Okay.
left that blank.
All righty. Okay. Demonstrate the ability to provide energy efficient designs and history with pursuing grant opportunities. So 2. Okay. I put 3. They've got a net zero building.
Yeah. 2 of them.
2 of them. Yep. Okay. Jeff?
3.
3. Dale?
3.
And Stephen?
3, and I'd just like to make my final comments on it. I think their proposal, I know Jeff said verbose, but I thought it was extremely detailed. They were the architect for Shutesbury in 2010. They have quite the energy focus and design awards. They had the initial schematic. They had a very clear timeline. Their site plan still shows the garage, and their presentation, this is a minor faux pas, is going to be on in May of 2021.
So we missed it?
Apparently. Oh, and they
Yeah.
also mentioned 3D presentations, you know, during the design process.
All righty. So Brad, do you want to interview Odinzello? All right, I want to interview them. Jeff
Yes.
and Dale
Yes.
and Stephen.
Definitely. And I forgot to mention, they also have Fuss and O'Neill on their
Right.
consultant list.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right.
Yeah, okay. All righty, so over under we decided, and so they got 139 points, which is the most points so far. Over under we decided that we weren't going to continue. We're not gonna rank them. And so the last firm is TSKP. TSKP Studio. Okay.
With
okay.
abs.
Wait, what?
Are these the ones that, you know, they all have typos or things, but these are the one that right on page 1,
Oh, right.
it says designer services proposal, Canton Public Library. Okay, all righty, okay. But anyway, so do they have 2 to 3 municipal building projects in the last
Jesus.
5 years? Yes or no?
They have schools, they don't have libraries.
Okay, but that's municipal. And Canton, all right, let's see.
It was a study.
Correct.
Right, that was a feasibility study. Yeah. Then they've got North Adams Elementary School 2027. So that just seems like it's a long time away. But they have schools, so I would say that's a yes. And then do they have? Because it says municipal. So do they have 3 references for projects similar to this project?
I say no,
No.
They know.
because they're huge. I got some other issues with these guys besides that, but
Yeah.
what do you
But
guys
these
think?
weren't one of your 2 that you didn't want to rank.
Right.
in the beginning. Oh my God, the solar flower.
Okay.
Did you see that?
Yes.
Okay. That's a little too out there for me. So are we just gonna rank them anyway? Or are we gonna say that because they don't really have libraries?
They
They,
have libraries in Connecticut,
right,
not in Massachusetts.
right,
Right,
right.
yeah, their
Here's
Yeah.
main experience is in Connecticut.
Can I voice my biggest problem I got with these guys? Or
Sure.
The way I interpret this proposal on these two firms, this is a big firm in Connecticut that's done lots of big libraries that either bought or opened an office in Boston with two people in it. And what they're trying to tell us is basically the office in Boston is going to do this project, with the principal in charge being down in Connecticut. And the Boston office, which they don't really define very well, doesn't appear to have any library experience. So I don't think, I question whether these guys are qualified.
I think I would say they don't meet the minimum requirement number 2, 3 references for projects of similar size, and we could take them off the list just because they don't meet the minimum requirement.
But I'm kind of interested to see what other people think.
Just for the sake of devil's advocacy, LLB is based in Rhode Island. They are not in Massachusetts. They have an office in Worcester, but Drayton Fair, who is their library guy, is in Rhode Island.
Mhm.
Then, so the principal is licensed, but the two people who would be
Yeah, they
the
don't
senior
have a
designer
license.
and the
Project manager.
project manager aren't licensed. Um, but Yugon Kim went to Harvard.
That's quite
Uh,
lengthy.
So, and then the other person went to I mean, they're well educated, Harvard and MIT.
But they don't
Uh,
show experience doing Massachusetts projects.
right, and
right,
they don't
with
have
the MBLC.
financial- Right.
Massachusetts projects with a filed sub bid and all that other happy nonsense. You
Right.
better know that stuff.
Right,
I
right.
don't, for the record, I don't think that they have referenced 3 municipal projects in Massachusetts where they've been the principal.
Right.
They list 5 libraries in Connecticut and 1 project for a study in Massachusetts.
Right.
Right,
So I think if you were to interpret it strictly, they do not meet the minimum requirements.
okay. Okay,
Thank you.
so I think we're not going to rank these guys, is that the consensus?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, all righty. Okay, so we have, that was the last one. Okay, so we have Odin Zello, Johnson Roberts, and then
LLB.
LLB, and then Dave King, we were pretty ambivalent about. Well, let's see, Dave King got 2 maybes and 2 no's.
That's pretty ambivalent.
That's pretty ambivalent. So, so I don't want to waste people's time. So Dave King is a lovely man. And I think I put a maybe. But we shouldn't interview him just because he's a lovely man. We should interview him because we think he could really be the architect for this project.
I was a maybe, and given all the discussion, I would change mine to a no.
Okay, so then are we going to interview 3 candidates?
Yes,
I'm fine with that.
Okay. So LLB, Odenzello, and Johnson Roberts. So we scheduled interviews for Monday. Well, let's see. So then we said, what did we say we would do? We said we would go back. So we were prepared to have a second ranking meeting, but we don't need to do that. And then, so I want to look, I'm going to stop sharing this screen. And I'm just going to make sure I'm going to save this for like the 1000th time. And I'm going to close it. Okay. And I'm going to look, I think the big building committee has a meeting Tuesday evening.
Yes.
Right? Okay. And then we would go to that building committee and make our recommendations about who we're going to interview. And
Yeah.
then we would invite people to interviews. Is that
Yes.
what we had decided? Okay.
And we had decided that the 12th and I believe it was the 14th.
The 14th, right?
I'm gonna recommend, Mary Ann. I think it would be beneficial where we've narrowed the field to 3 candidates, that we try to do them all in one night. I'll bring food if we have to get through it. But I think that there's a benefit to having all 3 of them at once, one right after the other. I don't think that 3 hours of interviewing is that heavy a lift. Just my opinion.
What kind of food?
Yeah. no, yeah.
Whatever,
Yeah, Mary
whatever
Ann
the
does the cooking.
committee, whatever the committee desires.
Okay, Penny had her hand up and then Brad has his hand up.
I just have a general question regarding the form that you use to rank them. Something that seems really important to me is whether these firms have designed buildings that have been built on budget. Is that not something that's typically asked of the designer?
At the interview, you can ask that.
Yeah.
It wasn't one of the comparative criteria. One thing I noticed in some of the proposals is that they had a page where they had, Johnson Roberts had this and somebody else had it too. A page where they talked about change orders and the percentage of change orders of their projects. So which
think
would
that's a good-
be
That's a good
about-
question at the interview.
staying on budget. Okay, but it wasn't one of the comparative criteria in the RFQ, Penny.
Okay.
All
Well,
right.
it would certainly be good to have people speak on that topic.
Mhm. We
Yeah.
do, I think we have to have a discussion on what do we want to see at the, or what do we want to get out of the interviews?
Right, right. So,
Typical interviews I've had, we give the designer like half hour to make a presentation on, why we should hire them and what their thoughts are on the project. And then a half hour for us to ask questions.
and then maybe Tuesday night we can
Mhm.
write questions.
Yes.
Okay,
Mary Ann, we have, oh God, I think we have a list of probably 15 questions that we've used in the past.
yeah,
That we'll provide for you to review and consider. We encourage you to add, deduct, edit, modify, whatever is important to this committee. But it will give you a starting point, at least, to launch. We also encourage you to make sure that you ask all of the firms the same questions.
Right.
And allow the committee the discretion to broaden their questioning based on responses provided or questions that are specific to the proposals that they've already provided, the qualifications.
Can you send us a copy of those 15 questions, please?
Yes,
I have some logistical questions.
Okay.
I think you said this, we have a meeting scheduled on the 5th, but that was to have a second night of this, and we don't feel we need that now, is that correct? We can take that off, okay. And then, this is related to what Neil was saying. I believe before we talked about wanting the interviews in person, is that correct?
Yes.
So we'll have this in town hall?
Mhm.
Okay.
So do we want to?
One question, Mary Ann, that everyone always asks when we do these interviews is what technology is going to be available to them for presentation? Do they have to bring a projector? Do you have a projector? Do you just need a dongle with a PowerPoint presentation? What is it? What is it that you're providing, and what is it that they should provide? They'll ask. If you don't provide it, they will ask, I guarantee it.
Mhm.
So we have, the meetings will have to be hybrid, because there'll be public meetings and that's just a requirement now. So the big screen TV, I suppose, so we have, an owl. Does the owl, so if they,
Mm.
so we have a projector and we have an old Army surplus screen. It really is like an old Army surplus screen. It weighs 100 pounds. I think I dropped it on Lauren's foot. It might have been Andrea's foot.
I
last
know
summer.
it well.
Okay. And did we use our projector, Lauren, when you came out?
Yes,
Okay.
and we used the
Okay.
owl and it worked very well, I
Right.
thought.
Yes. Yeah. The owl works great for a meeting. So here's my question. Can somebody, if we hooked up a computer to the owl, then can we stick their presentation in the computer and then it goes up on the big TV? And
Can I make a suggestion?
yeah, okay.
I didn't realize it was going to be hybrid. I would be interested and more than willing to attend virtually, and I could run the Zoom. So Mary Ann, nobody else would have to worry about it. You could all participate in the interview. And so if the architects would send me their presentation, I could take care of that.
Are you frozen, Neil?
No,
Oh, okay.
we could
so
do,
that would
we
work.
can do paper presentations for the committee unless there's a screen locally available. Or we could tell them
Well,
to bring it
it'll-
all themselves.
Well, the presentation would be up on the screen.
Okay,
Like
Big
we have a giant TV.
Yeah.
so they would need an HDMI cable.
Yes.
Okay,
No, all they would need is somebody
Oh.
that, you guys would have to have a computer connected to the owl. What I'm saying is they would send their slide deck to me. I would host the Zoom and I would share the screen. It's just an idea. I do it for our board meetings every month and it works very well. So it's an option if you would like to do that.
Okay, so that's one option, or they can bring their computer and we hook it up to the owl and they run it themselves.
It's
Okay.
really hard to do the presentation on the computer connected to the owl. I can tell you that.
Okay, alrighty,
You
okay.
would need to have a second computer.
okay, alrighty. And they could check, all right. And so Neil, so before COVID and before, we would have set up that Army surplus
Yeah.
screen. It wouldn't have been a hybrid meeting. It would have just been the people in the room and then there would have been minutes and
yeah,
the architect would have, so 10 years ago or 12 years ago, they brought their own projector and their own, and we had and they might have even brought their own screens, but we had a screen. But now we have a screen, an Army surplus screen. We have the owl and the giant TV. And those things are at their, they can use those things. If they want to give Lauren their slides, Lauren can share it for them. Or if they want to join the Zoom meeting on a computer in the room, they can share it up on the screen that way. And then the presentation will be up on the giant TV, and the
Yep.
people watching virtually will be able to see it, and we'll see it up on the giant TV.
Okay, I think we can
Okay.
make that work.
Okay, okay. So, so we had Monday, the 12th, and Wednesday, the 14th.
We still have, we have a bunch of questions there coming up.
Oh, okay, Elaine has a question.
My question to you is, we have all these proposals, the 3 proposals, but the rest of the building committee does not have them. Can we get copies to the rest of the building committee so that they can all see them too?
Yeah, I think, so who doesn't have it? I gave it to Penny electronically.
How about Molly?
Molly picked them
No,
up.
I meant all of these proposals.
Yes, yeah, Molly has them.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, I think everybody, I made them available to everybody.
okay, okay.
Okay, alrighty. So we can talk more about this Tuesday, but if we're gonna do 3 hours, I think we planned on starting at 6:30. So one at 6:30, one at
Oh.
7:30, and one at
No.
8:30?
No,
No,
usually, well, like, I'm asking the question, I guess. Do we want to give them each firm a full hour? Because the next firm, each firm's gonna need like 10 minutes to set up. So the first firm will finish, usually we would walk out of the room, the next firm would come in, it takes them 10 minutes to get their act together to make sure all their AV stuff works. So it's like an hour and 10 minutes. Is that the way we want to do it, or do we want to?
If you're gonna do a full hour, I'd recommend you schedule them an hour and 15 minutes apart.
At least, yep.
That way you guys can get something to eat between each one. I think this is gonna cost me, but
Yeah,
all right. So maybe we need to do that on Tuesday when we have the full committee. Because I don't know what time Molly can get there. So why don't we figure out the time on Tuesday? And
Okay.
then,
is there
And then-
is there any opportunity to start them earlier?
My recollection is that Molly said that 6:30 is the earliest she can start.
She revised that. I don't remember if that was a specific day. I know there was at least one day when she said she could start late afternoon.
she was available for a 2-hour window earlier in the afternoon, but then
Not
she
the whole
wasn't
time.
available after that. Stephen, you have a question?
Yes, first question is, how is it decided who is interviewed first? Is that just sort of a straw poll or,
I always recommend alphabetical order.
okay. And
And I recommend drawing names out of a hat.
There you go.
I think alphabetical, it always, the early ones always get first and the late ones always get last.
so then, and are the firms able to watch the interview of the other firms?
No,
Okay,
No.
good. All right. And I don't know what Molly's schedule is, but I was thinking, well, if you started, say, at 5, so the first one finishes at 6:15, then, or at 6, then we have, 15 minutes, we'll say, to get something to eat. And the next one starts at 6:15, then it's not too late. I mean, I would think starting, if we start at 6:30 and it's an hour and 15 minutes for each, that gets pretty late. And the last interview, we might be starting to lose our capability to pay close attention.
I mean, we're gonna be asleep.
Just for
I
the
didn't
record,
say
I'm
that.
only offering one meal. This is not gonna turn into breakfast.
Okay. So I'll email Molly and in between, I'll email her tonight, seeing if she could start at 5. And why don't we just shoot for the Monday? But I'll give her the option of both the Monday and the Wednesday. And then we can, so do we think, well, we need to be in touch with Molly. But do we think that we can just go ahead and if I can get in touch with Molly and she can make it at 5 o'clock, that we could just go ahead and invite these folks to an interview on either Monday, the 12th or Wednesday, the 14th, or do we need to wait until next Tuesday to make that decision?
Well, we're going to try to invite them all for the same night, correct?
Right. Either Monday, the 12th or Wednesday, the 14th.
Oh,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
seeing if all three can attend either of those days, and if all three can attend on one day, that's the day we have it.
Well, it's mostly I'm looking at Molly's schedule.
Got it.
Okay. Brad?
Is there anyone besides the assembled us and Molly on our side of things that we need to be concerned about? I think the answer is no, but I don't remember.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, they're just Molly.
Okay, and
And
then
then Lauren and Andrea, if they
can
were.
we start with the 10 of us? Does anyone have a problem with either date?
The only problem I've got is I'm having a tooth pulled on the 14th.
No.
Around noon.
Oof.
But I'll be back. Now, what kind of mood I'm in, I can't guarantee that one.
All right, and I
You
think
won't
we're
be
gonna
able
try.
to eat the dinner, the delicious dinner.
It better be
You-
soup.
You get soup.
So I think, why don't we shoot for the Monday, because it's also December, and then that gives us a snow date.
It also gives us a second date if there are conflicts with the three firms.
Right.
Right.
So they're not allowed to have conflicts. So,
They want this job.
right. No, well, I mean, that is a thing too. It is possible that they won't be available that night. Okay, let me get in touch with Molly, see what kind of flexibility she has and how she's feeling. And
It
then,
won't be absolutely horrible if we have to do one on a different night. I mean, I know that we don't want to do that, but I think it's not going to be the end of the project.
I concur.
And I think Neil's only doing dinner one night.
We'll wrap it up. We'll have leftovers.
There you go.
There you go.
all right. Okay. Alrighty. So I'll get in touch with Molly and then I'll let everybody know what she says. And then that will, if she's amenable to doing one night, we'll use Stephen's schedule of starting at 5 o'clock on Monday, the 12th. And then Neil, do you contact the architects? Or do I contact the architects?
Either way.
Okay. All right. What's normally done?
It's a coin flip. If you would like to make the arrangements, you can do it. If not, I'll set up a form letter. I'll send you
Okay.
the email. You can fill in all the specifics and I'll blast it out to the three of them.
Okay. All righty.
I think
we'll do
one thing that they're probably also gonna ask is who else is being interviewed? and whether the committee wants to let them know that ahead of time. And I'm assuming you don't want to provide the questions to them in advance. Right?
No, but I think we could tell them the name of the competing firms.
I mean, this is a public meeting. It's available to them. They can find the information out if they want to,
Right.
or you could just offer it. I think it's at the committee's discretion.
I would offer that information.
Sure.
I don't see a
Okay.
downside to it.
That makes it easier. Then I only have to send one email. I don't have to remember to keep changing the name and the time of the interview.
Right.
Is
Wanna
it,
make- Since you're
is it
providing
worth-
dinner, we don't want to make things worse.
is it worth letting them know that we do want in their presentation answers to the on time, on budget? Or are we gonna just, I mean, in my mind, they can then be prepared for that, which I think would be of value. Since they really, even though it was in their request for qualifications, it really wasn't clearly addressed well by them.
I think that's a pretty standard question that they get in every interview, and they're going to have an answer anyways.
Okay,
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it'll be positive.
Exactly.
Right, okay. All right, so I'm gonna let everybody know what Molly says, and then and it might be that she's okay with not being at all of the interviews too. So I'll let everybody know what she says, and then we'll decide. Okay, good. All right. Okay, and that, since that's just scheduling, we can do that by email. And then for Tuesday night's meeting, we'll go over the interview questions. And whatever else we're gonna do. Normal stuff. Okay.
But keep in mind, though, we're only giving them we're only half hour for questions. Assuming, so I don't know if you can hit them up for 14 questions. They like to talk a lot.
Well, so we expect like a half-hour presentation and then a half hour of questions. And maybe it's a 20-minute presentation.
Yeah, half hour is a
Um,
long presentation.
yeah.
It is.
So, okay. All right.
So, let's see the questions first, and we'll go from there.
Right. With the OPMs, we did like a 5 to 10 minute presentation, and then, was it an hour?
yes.
And then it was a lot of questions. But okay, but I mean, we can't do more than 3 hours.
I have 11 questions on
Okay.
our questionnaire,
Okay,
and schedule and budget are both addressed.
okay. Okay, good. All right, we'll look at those and we'll make we'll finalize our questions Tuesday evening. Okay, well,
Mary
good. I
Ann?
think
I just texted Molly.
Okay.
She said she could do as early as 3:30 on Monday and as early as 6:30 on Wednesday. And she might be able to do even earlier on Monday if she rescheduled stuff. So it sounds like there is some option.
Monday it is.
Monday.
Monday.
Monday. Okay, good. Excellent.
And I'm
Okay.
flexible on Monday too.
Okay. All right, so then, so
Neil-
is it,
Neil
so
can
can
provide
Neil go
lunch and
ahead and
dinner.
invite, oh, sorry, Jeff?
I say Neil can do lunch and dinner.
Sure.
Mhm.
So can he go ahead and draft that letter to invite the 3 architects for Monday, the 12th, starting at 5 PM?
Yes.
Or you want to start earlier?
Do we want to start at 4?
Didn't she say she's available at 3:30?
Right,
Let's start
Yeah.
at 4.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, then the first group driving out doesn't have to drive in the dark, and Neil
Right.
doesn't have to drive in the dark.
Right.
Okay,
I still have good eyes.
okay.
Just one thing, Marianne. Any issue with availability of the room? Do you know that? at this
no.
point?
No,
Oh, okay.
no,
We'll kick them all out.
yeah,
For sure.
No, we haven't, before COVID, using the room might have been a problem. But since COVID, we really haven't been having in-person meetings. We have not returned to that in Shutesbury very much. So, so it'll be kind of nice. And just, I'm gonna test before the meeting so that I don't have to wear a mask. And I encourage people to test before coming to meetings.
Sounds good.
Good
Yeah,
idea.
all right, okay.
Two things
So-
real quick. So Monday, this coming Monday, that's no longer
Right,
meeting.
yeah,
And then with the new schedule, first interviewee is at 4, finishing at 5. Then the second one is at 5:15 to 6:15, and then 6:30 to 7:30, and we're done.
Well, then we have usually.
We'll deliberate.
Yeah,
Decide.
right, yeah.
so we'll deliberate that same night.
Yep,
Mhm.
and
Okay.
the deliberations will take us to breakfast.
Right. There you go. There you go.
I'm just gonna, I have to post the meeting, so I'll put that in the
Mhm.
meeting posting.
Okay.
Okay,
Are
So
the
we're starting-
are the deliberations in open meeting also?
yes,
Okay.
Mhm.
Can the public attend the meeting?
Yes.
yes. Yeah,
We-
they're open meetings.
Some of us were just in the select board earlier tonight when the select board said this is only for the select board to speak. And I don't quite know what I want to say, but I don't want us to get derailed by comments outside of the committee.
Yep,
be-
I know how to handle that pretty well.
Right, we don't
And
have to
then-
take public comment. We can just, right, okay.
Yeah.
And you can disable the chat in the
Right.
Zoom, so you don't get bothered by that also.
Right.
Dale has something to say.
But we still do have a meeting this Tuesday on the 6th
Yes,
at 7?
yes.
Okay.
All right. We have a plan.
We have a plan.
Can I just, so we have a meeting on the 6th and then there's one on the 13th
No, the 12th.
again?
No, we went off schedule,
Yeah,
so we probably won't have the 13th meeting, but we can talk about that on the 6th as to whether we have something that we'd be doing on the 13th. Okay,
Can I make a suggestion?
sure.
If the full building committee wanted to meet at 8 o'clock on Monday night, the 12th, to hear your recommendation and vote on it for a quick meeting, that might be beneficial.
This is
And that-
the full building committee will be in the whole thing, in the interviews and everything.
Yeah, on the 12th. It'll be.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
I apologize. I thought it was the
No.
smaller group. Okay,
No, it'll be
No,
the
that's
whole
great.
committee.
Yeah, we'll decide that night who,
Yeah.
Excellent.
who we want, who the number one candidate is.
Mhm.
Right.
Okay,
Okay. And number 2, and number 3.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. All right.
There we go.
Okay, good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night.
thank you all. Good job.
All right. Okay.
I will say as an editorial comment, you've got
Cool.
3 great candidates to choose from.
I think so.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
good. All right. Thank you.
All right,
Great.
thank you.
Okay. All righty. So you're going to send me a couple of things, Neil,
Yep,
the questions and the letter that's going out. Okay, good.
yes. Mary Ann, if you can help me out, if there's a takeout place or something in town that can provide some chow.
Mary
I
Ann's
don't
doing
mind,
the cooking.
In town.
I don't
No,
mind
Mary
bringing
Ann's
it with
cooking.
me, but it's gonna be cold when I get there. That's the only thing.
Does he really have to bring dinner or can we all just pack a dinner.
We'll bring things.
Yeah,
We-
don't,
bring it,
we'll
yeah.
all bring
Potluck.
something.
Yeah,
Okay,
we'll
do a
feed
potluck.
you. Why don't we
Okay.
feed
Potluck.
him?
I'm gonna have to do something.
All right, we'll do a
Okay.
potluck.
All right, we'll do a potluck. You do something, and no, there's nothing there, the New Salem General Store.
That's
Well,
right.
which way are you coming? Oh no, people, the New Salem General Store has
Oh.
excellent food.
It
But
does.
which way are you coming? Are you gonna
I
come?
will
Route-
probably be coming from Route 2.
Yeah.
Oh,
right, you'll
yeah.
have to say a
Ooh.
little
Yeah,
bit.
the New
Good.
Salem General
Oh.
Store is the closest thing
That's right.
where you could get something, but
Yep.
we'll do a potluck. Okay, you don't have to
All
buy
right.
us all dinner. Okay,
All right.
all right, okay, all righty.
right.
Okay, good. All right, this is exciting. Good stuff.
It is.
Very
Okay,
exciting.
exciting.
all right, okay, all right. All
Good
right,
night.
good night, everybody.
Have
All
a
right.
great night. Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.